Oh shit, I got dirty clothes on the floor. Okay, I got a lot of shit on the floor that I should probably pick up. There's a water bottle, another pair of pants, there's a pair of socks. Jesus Christ. When's the last time I cleaned my room? Oh, hey guys, hold on, I'll be right there. Let me just go tell my grandmother that I'm awake. Actually, no, I think I'm gonna hold off on that. I'll let her figure it out. Okay. I literally just got off of Sekiro. If you guys weren't here for the last stream, it was pure hell. So, we're getting on a different game. But, this isn't gonna be like how the other one was. I promise. I'm not gonna die nearly as much. In fact, I'm actually going into this stream with a clear goal in mind. I platinumed Elden Ring, but there are still a few things that I have yet to finish up. Them being, I need more memory stones. I need more memory stones so I can have more incantations. And, then I need to find all of the incantations. I don't entirely know where I'm going for these memory stones, but I'm gonna try my best to find them. I do believe that some of them, I think I might have gotten the one in Ordis's Rise, whatever the fuck his name is. But that is one of the locations in this video. So I'm gonna go there and check it out at the very least. I didn't want to leave you guys with that bad stream, not making any progress. I didn't want to leave you guys with that. So I decided to get on Elden Ring. So, yeah, but I chose myself first, which is not something that I do often. Hold on, I gotta turn down my game volume. Okay, so, just give me a moment. I gotta figure out how exactly I'm supposed to do this. Seek 3 wise beasts. That's the thing that we're doing today, okay. What the hell? I don't have this grace yet? Weird. Behind the pocket. Crater. Behind the crater. Yeah, that one. Celebrating my victory over Melania by using her fucking weapon. It's the shittiest katana in the game. Like, I can't stress that enough. This katana is garbage. It is absolutely not fucking worth the amount of time that it takes to kill Melania. For me, I first attempted her because of how over-leveled I was, but it is not worth it. In the slightest. Because look, hold on, let me show you this. Look at this. So here's the Uji katana, right? Everybody's favorite weapon. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Yeah, soak it in. Look at this beautiful boy. I got bloody slash on it. And, here's the Uji's combos. Here's its heavy. Now here's Hand of Melania's combos. And here's its heavy. Honestly, the only good thing that this katana has is the ability to do this. But the wind-up time in the air takes entirely too long. You can be smacked out of that with the greatest of ease. And you know, you'd be sitting there with nothing to do. You wouldn't have anything to defend yourself because you'd be too busy on the floor. And what's worse is that the Ash of War does not pair well with the Godskin Swaddling Cloth. Let me explain. Watching Waterfowl dance, you all can imagine the amount of consecutive hits in this Ash of War. You can clearly see that there is a lot of things going on screen right now. It may not be Melania doing it, but it still looks like it does quite a bit of damage. And you would be right. But the thing that bothers me is the fact that Waterfowl Dance's consecutive hits do not stack up with the Godskin Swaddling Cloth. Because if it did, every initial hit after the first slash would be giving me health back. But that is not the case. In fact, during Waterfowl Dance, I'd be lucky if I got Godskin Swaddling Cloth to give me health back on 2 occasions, let alone the first one. I mean, yeah, it works sometimes, but for some reason it doesn't work all the time. And it genuinely surprises me when it works multiple times in a single Ash of War cast. It genuinely surprises me. Like, you have no idea. Okay, so there's a turtle somewhere. There's 3 turtles, actually. I just need to find the 3rd one. I don't know if it's over here or not. I think I got this one already. So I just need to find the other 2, or the other one. Because there's only one after this. Seek 3 wise beasts. There's a turtle right there. Oh, there's a turtle in the bushes. That would explain a lot. I can't fucking see it. It's hiding from me. Oridus's Rise is now open. I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna grab the memory stone, and then I'm gonna move on. The converted tower in Liurnia. I don't know if I opened that one or not. Honestly, I don't even remember, but we're gonna go there anyway. There's another memory stone. When I get to the converted tower... Oh, wait a minute. I have a grace unlocked in the converted tower. I might have opened it. I might have. I'm just saying, I might have. Yeah, I think I opened it. Assuming that there's loot in here is a very bold decision, considering that I've already opened the tower's doors. How do I get up there to check, though? Oh, wait, it's a platforming section. Of fucking course it is. When is it not a platforming section? So I'm putting on Inescapable Frenzy for when I fight invaders or other Tarnished in the Lands Between. And I'm also going to put on the Erdtree's Heal again, in case I need to fight Revenants. Also, I like it. I can use a heal whenever I don't have any flasks, and that really helps out. So while we're in this stream and I'm looking for the memory stones, I thought I'd tell you guys a bit about my Elden Ring character. I do actually have a substantial backstory on him. Well, for the most part, I do anyway. Oh, fuck. For the most part, I've got a backstory around him anyway. And I thought I'd like to go over it with you guys, in case you guys find it interesting. Because I used to write out stories, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It was really therapeutic. It made me, it was all around a good time. I think I have to jump over here. I would always discuss my stories with my friends, because they always found them interesting as well. And, I thought you guys would also find them pretty interesting. So, the story behind my character is, he is from the lands of Newman, like Marika is. His story is the placement of his story is assuming that the lands of Newman is a funny way of saying that, you know, it's our home. It's the human world, our home, our place. So he was sent on a mission from the lands of Newman to uncover the mysteries of the lands between. But at the time of being deployed on his mission, they did not know that it was the lands between. You know, they didn't know that there was going to be a giant-ass Erd tree in the middle of the entire ecosystem. Nobody knew that this is what it was at the time of sending him on his mission. And it can be assumed that from his mission, it can be assumed that he is potentially from Bloodborne. Which you would be right, because Bloodborne is the first Souls game I ever played. But Elden Ring is the first Souls game I ever beat. After I beat Elden Ring, I went back to play Bloodborne, and I had a fantastic time. In fact, I would really like to go back to Bloodborne at some point to get the secret ending with the moon presence. Because that is my character's canonical ending. However you say the word. It's how his story ends. So, essentially, I'm taking my Bloodborne character and I'm putting him in Elden Ring. So anyways, his transport crashes that's supposed to get him into the lands between. It crashes. His ship capsizes. And he falls unconscious, or he goes comatose, if you will. And during his coma, he goes pretty much through the events of Bloodborne. And he gets the moon presence ending. It isn't until he goes through Elden Ring that he figures out that what he was actually seeing was not his memories. So essentially, he learned how to fight from his dreams. And he goes through each of the different shard bearers and defeats them in a unique way. I haven't really figured out how yet, but yesterday I did write out how he dealt with Melania. And it was not how I dealt with her in that one stream. In fact, it was very, very different. Different in the regard that he is using a different weapon. He's using this sword, because this is his sword. Now, the reason I chose this sword in particular is because currently I am using this sword in Dark Souls 1. So, you can pretty much guess that my character is tied to a lot of the From Software games. He is originally from Bloodborne, his story takes place in Elden Ring, and his sword is from Dark Souls 1. Now, you guys might find that interesting. You might not. But it's fun to write this out. And it's fun to come up with new ideas. I was always a very creative person. I always liked to express myself through creativity in really any way that I could. And honestly, I stopped writing my stories after a while because, first off, they got really confusing and really convoluted, and furthermore, I didn't really have the time to write on them because I was always trying to take care of my mother. And, well, I didn't really know what I wanted for the story, so I just gave up. I stopped writing it. But I have a lot of stuff still kind of set in stone, or, well, not really set in stone, but, you know, just, I have a lot of it saved, so I at least know where I left off. And if I don't know off the top of my head, I can figure it out. Where's this last turtle? But, anyways, his weapon is from Dark Souls. Do you see this Zweihander in Dark Souls 1? You also see an NPC using it, but we'll get to that later. So, he goes through the game, he goes through Elden Ring, not initially with this sword. This sword is not, like, he does not have this sword in his possession at the start of the game. This sword is like the Dragon Slayer. He clings to this sword similarly to how Guts clings to the Dragon Slayer. Considering that this game is probably, Miyazaki's homage to Kentaro Miura, I imagine that this is probably the closest thing to an actual Berserk game that we're gonna get, other than, you know, like, the actual Berserk franchise. You know, the actual games of Berserk that are out there. If I was paying attention to what I was doing, I might have been able to find this turtle by now. I gotta reel it in a bit. I'm worried if I reel it in, I'm gonna forget what I'm saying. But, originally, he does not start with this sword. In fact, a lot of you may find this boring, but he is my self-insert. I imagine his story in Elden Ring going similarly to how I would survive in Elden Ring. Which I wouldn't survive in Elden Ring, let's be realistic. I would not survive this game's universe at all. But if I just said, oh, he wouldn't survive, he'll die to the Tree Sentinel, and that'll be game over, that would be boring. There wouldn't be any story. And I'm actually kind of curious to see how I would handle things. And so that's where this came from. And really, I've just been trying my best to formulate proper ideas. And I have written out a few drafts of how I imagine it would go. But whether or not they're actually good is... it's debatable. Oh, there's the last turtle. How long have I been running around that? I had a basic idea of where the beast was, but I couldn't ever find a way to get to it because I was too focused on what I was talking about. But, so this is his weapon of choice, the sword. But since he is my self-insert, I changed up, like, so he starts off with a spear instead of like a sword. Or he starts off with a spear instead of a caveman club. And he has Patches as spear. He has Patches' entire armor. Because Patches is supposed to be Miyazaki's self-insert. So that is where I got that from. I don't know if I got the memory stone in Saluvis' Rise, but I might have. But I have to go back and check anyway. I might have gotten a memory stone from some other Rise, but I don't remember. So anyway, he starts off wearing let me just find the rest of the armor. I know I have it. He starts off wearing this armor and using this spear. Now the thing is that he fashioned this spear. off of, he scavenged like swords from his like fallen enemies in the lands between, and he also scavenged like, you know, driftwood or wood of some sort, and to fashion the pole of the spear, and use the swords to create the blade of the spear. And the armor itself he had when he was shipped to the lands between. And he also didn't start out entirely unarmed. He had a pair of fist weapons. He had a caestus built into his armor. So it's like he's not entirely defenseless. You know, at the very least, he's got some punching power. And when he woke up, oh yeah, I did get the one in Silius' Rise. When he woke up with like inhuman strength, and his punches started to, you know, deal a lot of damage, normally damage that would not be dealt to people of the lands between. Like, you know how much a barehanded punch in this game does. Well, I mean, not with a caestus, apparently. Like, apparently you can use a fist-type weapon and you could still do damage, but if you go in unarmed, that's a different story. So anyways, I have to find the puzzle for this tower. I don't think there is a puzzle for this tower. I don't know if there is a way to open this tower. I think you just take the spirit spring up here. Yeah, I believe so. Okay. So, when he wakes up, and his punches start doing, like, massive amounts of damage that he normally wouldn't be able to do with his bare hands, or at the very least, something similar to his hands, you know, he doesn't think anything about it. Because I wouldn't think anything about it. I'd think, oh, everything here is just really weak, or, you know, something along those lines. I feel like I already got the memory stone in this place. I'm gonna go check anyway. If Demi-Human Queen Maggie drops a memory stone, then I've definitely already got it. The 7th memory stone I get from the round table. Okay, so then I've probably already got that one. Red Wolf of Radagon. Oh, I definitely have that one already. Yeah, I think I might have all of them now. Okay. Okay, so there's only one thing to do. I just gotta head back to the round table and slot my incantations. Ten memory stones. Ah, yes, that's better. So, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put on Grail's Roar, and then I'm gonna put on the Frenzied Flame ones. Oops, that's a sorcery. I don't want sorceries, fuck off. He does not use sorceries. Because I don't use sorceries. I don't like sorceries. I should, but I don't. The reason I don't like sorceries is because I have to use a staff to use them. Like, there should have been some form of incantation where you could use sorceries with a seal. Like a sorcerer's seal or something. And it was, like, viewed as a heretical means of casting sorceries. But because of the uniqueness of the seal, you could use incantations and sorceries with this one seal. But only with this one seal. To, you know, to make it fair, I guess, or to make it interesting, to make it unique, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Alrighty. So, let's see. I think I have all these prayer books. I do believe I have all the prayer books. Blood Boon, I've got Blood Flame Blade, Blood Flame Talons, Swarm of Flies, I don't want to assume that I've got Blood Flame Talons. I don't know if I do or not. Hmm. I do. Okay. But eventually, he'll go through, and he will either find a spear or fashion one. And then he'll eventually get to the point where he has that sword. And he'll use that. Well, he won't necessarily, I don't know. He goes through a lot of his journey without the sword. Then when he gets the sword, he can barely lift it. But after a while, through the strength of runes, lifting it would get progressively easier and easier and easier until eventually he is just swinging it around with one hand at some points. And the description of the sword says it is meant to be wielded with two hands, but those of merely ordinary strength will still struggle to do so. And after a while, eventually, like I said, he starts to swing it with one hand because of how light the weapon is all of a sudden. And that's when he goes to fight Margit, and he beats him. And then he beats Godric. He goes through and he beats all of the shard bearers. But it's how he deals with each and every single one of them is different. And for Rykard, he deals with Rykard by using the Great Serpent Slayer, or the Great Serpent Hunter spear. And he uses the spear, the Serpent Hunting spear, in addition to his sword. And he cuts off Rykard's head with his sword by pinning the head of the the god-devouring serpent to Rykard's blasphemous body. And then he decapitates Rykard with his sword. Now, the thing about my character is that he does not use remembrance weapons. The only remembrance weapon that he actually uses is the Thundercloud Spear that you would get from Placidusax's remembrance. And the reason why he uses this spear is because Placidusax does not actually use a spear in his boss fight. So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to take your weapon and downgrade its size so that I can wield it appropriately. No. Also, the other remembrance weapon that he uses, and you could have probably guessed already, is Melania's Gauntlet. But we'll get to that in a second. So he fashions the Thundercloud Spear that Placidusax gives you out of remains of his hide. Also, judging by the seal, you guys can probably assume that my character is a follower of Dragon Communion. And yes, you would be correct. You would be correct. He does go out and he does kill the dragons, and he does eat their hearts, and he does take their power. He is a follower of Dragon Communion. He's also a follower of Vare, but not really. He only follows Vare to get to Moog. And he has this presence that's guiding him through the lands between. Supposedly, it could be his ancestor, who he learned how to fight from. And that is you know, that is, but anyways, so he fashions the spear that Placidusax gives you from his remembrance out of his hide after eating his heart, and he uses it in the same hand that he uses the seal in. And that's where he conjures up the spear. Now, Archon, yeah, that's his name. Archon, well, his name is Jack, but I call him Archon because, Jack the Dragon Slayer. That does have a good ring to it, but ultimately, Archon I decided to go with. So, I don't think I can get this incantation. That's assuming that I don't already have it, but I don't know, I don't think I grabbed it. Nope, I didn't grab it, son of a bitch. Okay, that's fine. I'll just get it when I do New Game Plus, when I feel like doing New Game Plus. Erdtree Heal, Golden Lightning, Fortification. I don't think I've got that one yet. Okay. So I think I got a pretty good idea of where this one is. So after he fashions the Thundercloud Spear, acquired after slaying the dragon Placidusax, he uses it, but he fashions that spear out of Placidusax's hide, and with the assisted power of his Dragon Communion seal. Moving on to the next remembrance weapon that he uses, Hand of Melania. Now, the reason why I have him using Hand of Melania is very simple. You may have noticed that I'm holding Melania's hand, and I'm also holding onto her sword. In the fight against Melania, he gets his arm cut off, from the forearm up to his elbow. And he has to defeat her first phase with only one arm, and using a sword that is meant to be wielded in two hands. Now, by this time, he is very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. He has effectively become a demigod at this point of his story, before he fights Melania. And by that point, he has also defeated and claimed the shards of just about every other shard bearer. I'm trying to find the right grace. I know I have it. But, so when he gets his arm cut off, he goes beast mode, for lack of a better term. And he picks a page up from Radahn's book and throws himself at Melania like a fucking meteor. And he arms himself with his sword, using gravitational magic, to pin her to the wall, which kills her, seemingly. Which brings her to her second phase. Now, how he beats her second phase is very interesting. He uses Starcaller Cry that Radahn does, that he has into his greatsword, but he uses it with Melania's katana and his own greatsword. So he throws a gravitational vortex down that locks her in place, and Then, before she gets pulled into that vortex, he rips off her arm, and, you know, now he's got a hand again, and he's, you know, actually able to do something to her. I'm probably gonna die. I was only here for the incantation, I wasn't here for the dragon. Plus, with 2.5 million runes, I wasn't losing that level. Back to what I was saying. So, he does waterfowl dance on Melania, but he's also using gravitational magic to make his sword, you know, the sword that he struggled to lift, virtually weightless. I mean, if the sword was as light as a feather, that'd be saying something. But this sword had virtually no weight to it. And so, while he was doing waterfowl on Melania with her own sword, he was also hitting her with his sword. So it was just this double flurry of attacks. And that's what does her in. Now he does keep her blade. That way he's got an extra weapon. But he doesn't use it. He uses it, but he doesn't use it often. He only uses it in circumstances where, like, say he's disarmed, or, you know, his weapon gets taken from him or something. Or he'll use the Hand of Melania to switch things up a bit. But he rarely ever uses her katana. Okay, so let me just see what I'm going next. Golden Vow, I've got that. Protection of the Erd Tree, I've got that. Wrath of Gold, I have a lot of these. Okay, so we're going over here, because I don't think I've got Wrath of Gold yet. Okay. So, what was I going on about? Oh god, the worm faces. I don't like the way they sound creepy. Oh god, there's one up there. He's like, what you say about me? That's hilarious, oddly enough. Nice caveman club, can I have it? Alright. So, let's see. And he does use the Godslayer's Greatsword to kill the Elden Beast. He picks that up from Melania, or not Melania, from Melina, I think. So, that's... There we go, that's better. Okay. Now I've got Wrath of Gold. So, Aspect of the Crucible Breath. I got that one already, I think. Yeah, I got that one. Aspect of the Crucible Horns. I don't have that one. I definitely don't have that one. Okay. So, he cuts off... So he rips off Melania's arm before he throws her into the vortex. And then he does Waterfowl Dance on her. with his sword and hers. So it's like insult to injury, but it's also like, you know, just overall an actual fight to survive. Because prior to her second phase, or you know, how she does the Scarlet Aeonia for her second phase, she does that and she blooms on top of him, and pretty much now he's afflicted with Scarlet Rot, and it's just after just getting blown up by the Scarlet Rot, he's like in a blind panic. And he's just fighting purely off of instinct, similarly to how Radahn is fighting off of instinct. And his usage of gravitational magic is purely off of my admiration for Radahn. I always thought he is an awesome boss, phenomenal boss. And that's why my character winds up using gravity magic. So, he beats Malenia, takes her weapon, and keeps his sword. So, that's how he deals with Malenia. And the fight pretty much goes how you would expect, but, you know, it's not like a cinematic mess like how it is in Elden Ring. It's actually like a decent fight. It has very good moments in it. Like when she does waterfowl in her first phase, their swords actually clash a few times. Actually, nearly every slash that she does clashes with his strikes. And there is one thing, however, that catches him off guard. That final slash at the end of Waterfowl Dance. Hold on, I'll show you which one. That one. That final slash catches him off guard. And it caught me off guard. So that's why I added that in. So, after that final slash in Waterfall Dance that catches him off guard is the one that takes his hand. Okay, Burn, O Flame. I think I have that one. Let's see. Yeah. Flame of the Fell God. Got that one. Flame Cleanse Me. Got that one. The only thing I really don't have is Flame Grant Me Strength. Flame Grant Me Strength. Good. Now where is that one? It's over here. Is it in Fort Gale? I think so. Yeah, I think it's in Fort Gale. Wait, I was in... Nice. Okay. I'm gonna turn on Do Not Disturb from now on. I don't want to be getting calls when in the middle of a video. I don't care what it's from, I don't care who's calling me, I don't want to be bothered. I want to sit here and I want to chill. Wish I could turn on Do Not Disturb in real life. That'd be fantastic. So, anyways, after he deals with Malenia, he slots her blade to the prosthetic hand that he took from her to replace his own hand, and he moves on with his life. And with Malenia is the last shard bearer on his list before he can actually challenge the Elden Beast and mend the Elden Ring. So, after that's done, he goes on to challenge Radagon and everybody else. Or he goes on to challenge Radagon and the Elden Beast. Okay. Where is this? There it is, okay. Now, there is a theory going along that Melina is the gloam-eyed queen. Or at least I'm theorizing that, if nobody else is. But if she is the gloam-eyed queen, then this Godslayer's greatsword would be her sword, right? And that is assuming a lot, because the theory is of her being the gloam-eyed queen comes from the Frenzied Flame ending, where after you burn down the Erd Tree and you completely destroy it, you see Melina, and her eye that's closed the entire game opens, and it's purple, and she vows to deliver destined death unto your entire bloodline for offering you the strength of runes. So, if she is the gloam-eyed queen, then this theory of mine, you know, being proven correct, that would be awesome. Because I do think that that is a really cool idea. I think that this supposed being that has the power of black flame to kill gods, being our very own maiden, I like that idea. So I took it and I just kind of ran with it and made it into my character's story. Which brings me to his sword. Alright, so the Godslayer's greatsword. It says that the black flames wielded by the apostles are channeled from the Godslayer's greatsword. And so what I'm thinking is that his story is very different from how Elden Ring is actually portrayed. For instance, he's not going to actually go through the game and, oh, there's going to be a Godskin Apostle in the Divine Tower of Caelid, he's going to kill it, and there's going to be a box conveniently with the Godslayer's greatsword in the box. There's going to be an Apostle in the basement, but whether or not the sword is in that chest, no, there will not be a sword in that chest. What I did is that from how similar the Zweihander looks to the Godslayer's greatsword, is I made them the same sword. And he eventually unlocks this sword, or at the very least, he uses his seal to unseal it, and turn this Zweihander into the Godslayer's greatsword. Or he takes it back to Hugh before he goes to challenge Radagon on the Elden Beast, and Hugh has it for a while. Or at the very, he takes the sword back to Hugh after he deals with Melania, and then he goes out for a bit to go burn the Erd Tree and take out the fire giant. And halfway through, Melina, or when he gets to the mountaintops, the very first time he gets to the mountaintops, he meets Shabriri in Yura's body, and Shabriri says, "You're about to sacrifice something so precious, the life of your maiden, just so you could become Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder." And that caught me, so it catches him too. And unlike Elden Ring, unlike how it is in Elden Ring, he brings this up. He demands to know, he demands answers. He asks, "Why would I throw you into the flame just so I could become Elden Lord? Why didn't you tell me something like this would happen? You know, overall, he's just really angry and really confused, and he doesn't know what's going on. His thought process is that he can't sacrifice his maiden because she's the most important thing in his life right now. She is the reason why he has gotten this far in his journey. And so he can't just throw her into the flames and just, that's it. Just, oh, see you later, I guess. Have fun in the pits of hell wherever you land. So when she tells him, or not really, when she reiterates that as a Finger Maiden, it is her duty to guide him to become Elden Lord, she simply just tells him it's her duty to make this sacrifice because Jack wouldn't survive kindling the flame of ruin. And she simply says to him, this is what has to be done. Will you accept this destiny? And Jack says no, he won't. And Melina begs him to reconsider, and she leaves him thinking that she made a lasting impression. But she didn't. So when Jack goes back to Leyndell after killing Commander Niall and claiming the second half of the hidden Haligtree medallion, before he goes to the Haligtree to take down Malenia, because in his story, it's not just, oh, kill Godric, kill Rennala, boom, now you have enough Great Runes to mend the Elden Ring. No, I make it absolutely imperative that he kills all of the Shard Bearers. And he does. And so when he goes back to Leyndell to challenge, or not challenge, when he goes back to Leyndell to hoist the Haligtree medallion, before he does, he goes beneath the capital and subdues the Frenzied Flame. Now, this may seem reckless, but he has a game plan. And it was going to work out like this. So he took Shabriri's words with a grain of salt. But when he brought up Melina, that's when my character got a little iffy. You know what I mean? That's when my character was like, hold on, wait a minute, something ain't right. And, so he goes beneath the capital, and he subdues the Frenzied Flame. And so he's in this armor by the time he does it. Not this armor that I'm showing you right now, I'm trying to find it. He is in this armor. The Knight's armor from the tutorial. And when he goes beneath the capital, Vike does not exist in this story. But he leaves the sword with Hugh, saying, I'll come back when I've completed my mission. And hopefully by then, because when Hugh makes him the sword, but it's very early in the story. Hugh says, this weapon will help you slay a dragon. Use it well. And Jack can barely lift the damn thing, even with two hands. Because although he's got down the basics of it, he's hitting the strength requirements and the dexterity requirements, for lack of a better term, but it's still hard for him to lift the sword. So, after he kills the dragons, and he's kind of used to the sword a little bit, he brings it back to Hugh, and he says, I will come back at the end of my journey. Hopefully I'll be ready to wield it by then. And Hugh dedicates every hour, every second, every minute of every day to refining this sword until, even with Melena's blessings, until it eventually turns into the Godslayer's greatsword. And when Jack comes back to claim his sword, by that time he has already set the Erd Tree on fire, and he has already killed Malekith the Black Blade. And Hugh does not remember him at all. So he takes the sword, and he takes the Godslayer's greatsword, that is now his sword, created specially for him by Hugh, our beloved blacksmith, and now, burnt by the Three Fingers, down one arm, he goes to challenge Radagon and the Elden Beast. But on his way up, he meets Gideon. And he pretty much does, how he deals with Gideon is he does Inescapable Frenzy, and that one-shots him. Gideon does not get any last words or nothing. The only last words he gets are screams of agony as madness and the flame of frenzy overtake him. Then he goes on to Godfrey, and he beats Godfrey. Then he goes on to Radagon and the Elden Beast, and he beats Radagon and the Elden Beast. And knowing that he had finally killed a god, with the help of Hugh, he takes great pride in knowing that a sword that Hugh made to slay a god did just that, and slayed a god. But also, mind you, he injected himself with the, well, not injected himself, but he stabbed himself with Miquella's needle, subduing the flame of frenzy, preventing him from rising as the Lord of Chaos. But the burn is still on his body. It's still on his body, it's still on his armor. So, the armor falls apart. The knight armor that has now been burned and splintered and just blistered apart by the flame of frenzy, that armor has been, it was crumbling, it was falling apart during the Elden Beast fight. And eventually he's got nothing left of that armor underneath of his body. So, pretty much, it's like this. He was burned by the Three Fingers, and his armor was burned. But he goes back, and, let me try it again. He was burned by the Three Fingers, but that armor crumbles during the fight with Radagon and the Elden Beast. Now, I'm trying to make this in a way that makes sense, and if I can't find a way that makes sense, then maybe he'll strip off his armor and get his flesh burned by the Three Fingers. But, see what I mean? It's difficult to try and formulate ideas. I know what I want to do with them. I got a basic premise, but it takes a while. And I know a lot of you aren't really interested in stuff like this. This is probably a different video than what you guys were expecting. But I didn't want to just leave you guys with some half-assed Sekiro stream that I didn't even wind up making any progress in. I wanted to spend more time with you guys, so I got on a different game and I started streaming again. And I wanted to tell you guys what was going on in my neck of the woods, and I wanted to tell you guys about the ideas that I had for my story, and overall just spend time with y'all. because it's only been ever since I started streaming like this every single day that I've kind of been feeling a little bit better about my mom passing away. Spending time with my viewers and playing games while you guys watch has made me not feel so alone. And it's made it a bit easier to process everything that's been going along in my life. And I guess that's why I'm still doing it. But I'm not the only person in the world who's lost somebody valuable to them. I'm not the only person who's lost their mother. My grandmother grew up without her father because he died in the war. And now I gotta live without my mother. And it's hard, but I'm trying to get through it. And I'm employing just about every coping method I can think of. But it's hard, but it's getting easier every day. And I'm trying to stay strong. I'm working out. I've had a streak going now for the past 4-5 days, maybe 6 days at this point. I don't know. The workout started shortly after the daily streams did. So I'm not really sure when I started, but I can tell you without a doubt that I've been working out every single day, trying to get stronger for the people that are still around and need me. And I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm trying to anyway. And overall, I'm really just hanging in there the best I can. And if I have to stream every single day and die repeatedly in a game that I'm pretty bad at by now, or just chill on a game that I'm good at and talk with you guys about what's going on in my head, it'll make it overall easier to deal with. Like I said, it won't make me feel so alone. And I guess that's why I'm still doing it. Anyways, I'm rambling now. We've gotten off topic, but unfortunately, I do not have any more time to spare. It's about time I go grab my shower and get ready for my appointment. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in, for those of you that tuned in live, and to those of you who are seeing this after the stream, thank you for watching. If you liked it, make sure you show me that by hitting the like button. And if you really liked it, maybe consider subscribing. Hit the little bell button to turn on post notifications after the subscribe button, so you get notified whenever I post a video or start a live stream. And yeah, that's about it for today's stream. And thank you again for watching. And remember, if you're not crazy like me, you're not normal. Peace out. Bye guys, see you later.